CRA basically, is responsible for removing blight. And that's sort of the technical definition. But what we really do is we create public-private partnerships to bring much needed commercial services to the area. We are required by law to provide affordable housing. We do public improvements, and most of this is financed by what is called tax increment financing. That sort of, in a nutshell, is what we do.
From the CRA's sixth-floor office overlooking the NoHo Arts District, Ghazala Prasada, the project manager for North Hollywood, is able to look down on what many consider one of the CRA's finest successes over the last 10 years, the NoHo Arts District. 20 years ago, the area was considered run down and suffering from urban blight. Today, it is home to the highest concentration of live theaters anywhere in the country outside of New York City. It is also home to the Television Academy of Arts and Sciences. There are also many fine dining options, and new developments like the NoHo Commons. And in January, ground was broken on the new NoHo Senior Arts Colony. Recently, the Ramos Brothers Circus pitched its giant tent in the main parking lot of the Valley Plaza Mall for an entire long weekend. There was no need or concern for disrupting business at the mall, because nearly every business is out of business. How did this happen? This question is explored in Part 3 of the Valley and Laurel Plaza Malls, a tale of two North Hollywood neighborhoods, the NoHo Arts District and the Valley Plaza. During the 1940s, the area surrounding Lankershim and Magnolia Boulevards was the heart and soul of North Hollywood. It was the business district, an economic hub, and the area where the Valley and Laurel Plaza malls now sit was essentially empty, open fields, undeveloped. But the two areas in North Hollywood have spent the last 70 years seesawing back and forth. As one has risen, the other has fallen, several times. Joe Goodman's father owned a jewelry store after World War II near Lankershim and Magnolia, and he himself owned a music store in the area in the 80s and 90s.
Lankershim Boulevard in the 40s and 50s was the heart of North Hollywood. It was the business district, and they made a mistake. And the mistake they made was they did everything they could to keep major department stores out. They kept Sears out, and later on, they kept May Company out. And according to my dad, they were so successful at it that Sears went and took a complete empty, huge amount of vacant land and went over there and started Valley Plaza. Is that what Sears is? And that became a major center, and then this became a major center, and that slowly drew people away from Lankershim. So all of a sudden in the 80s, the Lankershim area was getting run down. The store that later became my music store had been Rathman's department store, an elegant place where you had to dress up to go in. There was a man at the front who would make sure he had a little boutonniere, a little carnation, and he would look at you, and if you weren't dressed nicely, you couldn't get in. And they took that, Lankershim Vinyl in the center of North Hollywood, because they tried so hard to hold it in and not let anybody in, it suddenly came to Sears, became the shopping center area, and that went down.
Lankershim was the first street in the valley to be electrified, and this was touted as the first electric stop sign, street sign. So, and then a couple of things. Lenny Bruce got picked up for cocaine right in this corner, and they've done some films here, so some infamous things going on.
It was a regular downtown center, looked very much like the urban centers in San Francisco or downtown LA. And my dad had that jewelry store for many years and it lasted. But as he left, it was the same time where North Hollywood was sort of having an ungrowth period. And it's been improving since they started the NoHo Arts District greatly, and it's looking really good, but there's no district here of improvement going on.
But while both areas reside in North Hollywood, and are both project areas of the CRA, there are key differences between the two. One being that the Lankershim Magnolia area was declared a CRA zone in 1979, while the Valley and Laurel Plazas were declared a CRA zone in 1994, but only then the powers were limited. And it wasn't until 2009 that the CRA was actually given its full limit of powers.
The earthquake disaster assistance project areas were very limited because they were sort of limited purpose project areas. So we couldn't always do the same things in those project areas that we could do in our regular conventional project areas, where we have a larger toolbox, where we have eminent domain right from the inception date.
In 2000, the Metro Red Line subway was extended out to the Arts District from Hollywood.
Valley Plaza is a really difficult site. There are a lot of issues, whereas in North Hollywood, down by the Arts District, a lot of the economic redevelopment that occurred in that area was catalyzed by the opening of the subway station.
One other aspect to it that might really be benefiting there, and that's the subway. I mean, that's right adjacent. I mean, that's right there at Chandler Boulevard, and then just south of Chandler is where all NoHo's really picking up.
One reason for recent optimism at the Valley Plaza site was that J.H. Snyder has owned and developed the NoHo Commons project in the Arts District, which has hundreds of rental units and over 60,000 square feet of retail space, along with thousands of square feet of office space as well. But as large and successful as the NoHo Commons was, it pales in comparison to the size and scope of the Valley and Laurel Plazas.
I mean, not being the person who, like Schneider, who was involved in both, and yet he was successful over there, and it didn't work out so well for him here, he would probably have some better answers. But my thought is that it's just a different, even though it's so close geographically, it's just a bigger piece of real estate altogether that needs to be worked on, and I think that had a lot to do with it.
Jerry Snyder bit off something way too big for him. He's in the end of his cycle, and he knows. So what are you doing taking on something this big? Your people, there's a lot of other smaller firms that are strong financially can come in here. Jerry Snyder's he did the thing in NoHo. I knew him back in Santa Monica. I did a campaign years ago. He did some beautiful work, the Water Gardens it's called. He did a museum project on Wilshire Boulevard, but that was 30 years ago.
So we are really very pleased with the success we have had in North Hollywood, and like I said, we are hoping to repeat that in Laurel Canyon. But again, Laurel Canyon is a very different project area, even though it's sort of, a part of the greater North Hollywood area.
In Part 4 of the Valley and Laurel Plaza malls, we'll take a look at the specific reasons why 17 years has gone by without any significant development happening at the Valley or Laurel Plaza malls.